everyone! Drew the 90s guy here. Before we start the video, I wanted to give a big thank you for all your likes and comments on my last video about spirits that I want as fighters in Smash Ultimate. I had a lot of fun making that video and really enjoyed reading your comments about your own picks. This channel just reached over 40 subs and I'm so excited to keep making additional content. So, earlier this week, I did something a little unusual and held my breath for a hashtag. Banjo-Redooie! So what exactly is Banjo-Redooie? And why was I willing to turn purple in the face for it? Well, to answer that question, we'll need to go back a bit. Like, over 20 years a bit. It was the summer of 1998. I was recently the proud owner of a shiny new N64 console. Super Mario 64 had forever changed the way we look at video games, and I was so excited for what we could get in the future. At that time, one of the best places to go try a new video game was, believe it or not, Sears of all places. That is where I played Banjo Kazooie for the first time. It was actually really easy to pick up the game because the control scheme was very similar to Mario. But there was also something very different about this game. Something unique. Something special. After renting the game a couple of times from my local grocery store, I was completely hooked. The game blew me away and it has remained my favorite video game to this day. Now I'm not going to dive too much into the future of the series afterwards, but a short 2 years later, Banjo-Tooie was released and was a fantastic sequel, and both these games are platforming masterpieces. While Rare has released updated ports of these games, they have a chance to make them even better. This of course brings me back to the question of Banjo-Redooie. So Banjo-Redooie is an idea of remaking one or more of the original Banjo Kazooie games. This could be a compilation like the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, with the first two games given a modern update while still retaining their original charm. The phrase Banjo-Redooie actually originated a while back from a 4chan post predicting this supposed title, and it has practically become canon ever since. Banjo-Redooie has recently become trending in the gaming community, and fans everywhere seem to agree that this is where the series needs to go. So, there are a few people who ask why we need a remake instead of just a direct sequel, the Banjo 3E we've waited over 2 decades for. Well, that's just it. After Banjo-Tooie, the series gradually declined and faded from the public eye. We of course did get Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts in 2008, and while, in my opinion, it is a great game in its own right, it was not really a good use of the IP because of its fundamentally different gameplay of vehicle building. The mediocre reception to that game did unfortunately cause a long hibernation for the barren bird, and it seemed for a while that it could have stayed that way forever. But something truly special happened though. The fans refused to let Banjo-Kazooie die. They petitioned Nintendo and Microsoft to bring them back in that grand video game crossover we know as Super Smash Bros. In spite of all the naysayers, our voices were heard, and Banjo-Kazooie made a glorious return in E3 last year. It was wonderful to finally see them in any video game, and I think they are very fun to play as. Now, as we have seen in the past, Smash Bros. Has been a great way to promote characters and even bring them out of the grave. Before Super Smash Bros. Melee, for example, nobody in North America knew who Fire Emblem was, and now it is one of Nintendo's most popular and overrepresented series. I think that Rare and Microsoft should definitely take the same opportunity to further reintroduce Banjo-Kazooie to the public with a new game. While they could go with a new sequel, I think its appeal would be mostly limited to fans of the old games, and they would miss the opportunity to market the brand to a new generation of gamers. After they become established with the series and prove that Banjo-Kazooie is a marketable franchise, Rare should go ahead and plow ahead with a brand new game. I also think that beyond marketing, Banjo-Kazooie is an amazing game that can become even more incredible with a fresh coat of paint. So what are the things I would like to see in Banjo-Redooie? Well, first in terms of games, I think that, again, it should at least include Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie. They could also include Grunty's Revenge, which I've actually never played, and honestly could make an even better upgrade, but it is by no means necessary. The first two games float together very well, in part because Banjo Kazooie keep all their moves in the first game to the second one, making it already feel in a sense like one game. In terms of how the game itself would play, I don't think that very much needs to be changed. There could be a few tweaks here and there, like making the environments a little larger or adding a few extra jiggies per level. They could also put in the Bottles of Revenge mode that was originally supposed to be in Banjo-Tooie, and also redo the legendary stop and swap system for more interesting rewards and unlockables. But in the end, the core gameplay is timeless, and even no additional content would be fine with me. When it comes to remakes, one of the first things that comes to mind are the graphics. The original N64 games actually still look great to this day, with amazing looking environments and character animations. I think the look of the characters in Spiral Mountain in Smash Ultimate give a pretty good template for how a new game should look, as Sakurai himself indicated. Banjo and Kazooie were given a ton of personality in Smash Bros., and I think that could be used and further evolved in a remake. Another very important thing that excites me a lot about a remake is that they could have a fully remastered, orchestrated soundtrack. If you want to get a good idea of what a modern soundtrack would be like, I recommend that you check out the Banjo Kazooie Symphony album from the Blake Robinson Synthetic Orchestra. Almost every track from the game is remixed and is a pure joy to listen to. As a matter of fact, the music you hear in the background is from this album, and listening to this really puts a picture in my mind of what they could do with this game if they were to revisit it. And hopefully they could even bring back Grant Kirkhope to make the arrangements himself. So, to wrap things up here, Rare and Microsoft have generated a lot of goodwill from fans from letting Banjo-Kazooie in Smash. They are listening and know that we want them to come back. We keep seeing more and more new merchandise released for the Bear and Bird, so hopefully we'll know of a new game soon. I'll definitely be watching the Xbox game event on July 23rd and hope to see a new adventure. Either Banjo 3 maybe, or even Banjo-Redooie. Anyways, thank you guys for watching today. Please help the channel grow by hitting the like button and subscribing to Drew the 90s Guy. Until next time, see ya.